And we are back with the report. It's me, Ruggs, out here on this lovely day, enjoying the whole vibe. We got guests in the studio, lightening it up. You know, smiles, happiness, and good times. Let's go around and introduce. We'll start with Smiley over here.
Yes, sir. It's Mr. Jones, Mr. Blessed and Highly Favored, once again.
All right,
Here
all
for
right,
the shits. You know what I mean?
All right.
Roma Army back on the podcast. I got, what is that? How many people we got watching? 492 people watching on YouTube right now. What's up to you guys?
What up? What up? What up?
Yeah, we're just kicking it. You know what it is. Yeah, fuck you, Netflix.
Right?
All right, we got our special guest.
I'm happiness. No. What's up? I'm Ulysses 305 to the 905. Highly the Saga side. I am Ulysses. I am him. Shout out to Bars of Death. Follow me, man. I am Ulysses 305 on Instagram. I am Ulysses 305 on YouTube. Battles, music. That's what I do.
All right, all right. So we're kind of having a quick sidebar conversation about something we kind of spun off on our last episode where we're talking a little bit about child support, and it's kind of cool we have the panel we have here now because absent of me, kind of like we have different perspectives on the family dynamic when it comes to child support and kind of fighting that little, well, I shouldn't say little battle because I know some
It's
battles.
a big one.
Trust me, some of my friends have told me and showed me what's going on with these battles when it comes to the court system here. And I know you live in a completely different part of the country than us, but
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah, some of the guys here have told me some nightmare scenarios, and all I could do is hug them. It's like, you can't even say nothing to them after that. So
Yeah, so I got a unique perspective, obviously, because I'm a woman that pays child support, and you don't see that very often. But last podcast episode, we had grazed over when we were with James Come On Now, the comedian. It had come up that I pay $6,000 in child support. And
God damn, $6,000.
and a lot of people had slow round of applause. Thank you. No,
like you said that, my back hurts for you. Like, holy shit.
My audience people seem to have like been of the perspective that maybe I'm just like an absent mother, like I'm not there for like my kids or like, you know, and that's completely untrue. So I just want to come here today to set the record straight because people were nosy as fuck. Just kidding. But anyway, so I am very much active in my kid's life. We have 50-50 custody. The reason why I pay so much is, number one, I make a lot. So it's like I'm kind of the breadwinner, not just for like my immediate family, but also like other family members. Like I provide for my whole family. So like my family watches my shit. So I don't want to drop their names because then they'll get mad at me and yell at me later. But but I'm the breadwinner for like my entire family basically. And so it just like kind of makes sense. And he just turned 26. He just turned 26. And when we got pregnant, he was like 23. So this guy's like going into school, 23 years old. We got pregnant on birth control. So it was like something that was just completely unplanned. Wasn't like, we weren't being careless. We weren't being stupid, none of that shit. And so I kind of just said to him like, you know, I'm going to have this baby like with or without you, because I wasn't willing to get an abortion, but I was completely willing to like single parent by myself. I don't care. But he decided, you know, like he wanted to stick around and kind of explained that there was like, it wasn't really plausible for him to just go out and live in the world knowing he had like a little him running around and he wasn't responsible for him.
Yeah, he
so
wants to be involved, right?
Yeah, so he wanted to. So I said to him, and I made the agreement like right away to split up and no longer be in a relationship, because it's like, you know, we're young. I was 24, he was 23. So the best, he might have even been younger actually. I think maybe 22, I don't remember. But basically we were young, and it's like the best chance that we were going to have to be like good, solid co-parents was with us not being together. And it's enabled us to support each other immensely. So like he really holds the family down. Like even though we're not together, like he's with the kids right now. Well, I'm from Calgary, Alberta. Right now I'm in Mississauga. Like I'm in Ontario, whole different province, and he's keeping them, you know, like holding them down, taking care of them. And he's very much like, he's like the nurturer, you know what I mean? Like some people, my role is better with like protecting and providing. That's just what I do. I always have been. And he's like very much like the nurturer, the fun one that's always going to like the trampoline parks and for bike rides. And like, I don't really know how to do any of that stuff. So like he really holds the family down. So I have no problem. He's an amazing dad. And yeah, it's 50-50. So we do 50-50 custody. And he just doesn't have to work.
A question that kind of riffs off all of this, and it's just from like the guy's perspective, I guess, is does like the relationship or interactions, because you're the one kind of providing on the back end, are your guys' interactions, is there like a power struggle there in any sense, or is it just
no?
like,
And someone just commented, they said Mr. Nanny respectfully, and it's like people have that perspective where they think either like I wear the pants or like, you know, that he's like somehow less of a dad. I don't understand how that works. Like he has them 50% of the time. Like I don't really get it. If somebody's in school and like working for a better future and being a dad and is young as fuck, no experience doing this prior, then how is that a nanny? How is he any less of a parent than I am just because he's not making the money yet? And how would it look for me?
Thing, because like culturally,
You're the best.
it's just I feel like it's a cultural thing where it's like culturally they always perceive that like the guys have to be doing like the most, like he should be working 2 jobs and grinding, and even if it's not beneficial for the family, like culturally we think in our heads like, oh, the guy's gotta be doing the most.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, they think that you should be dealing with the kids and he should be like out grinding, and it may not even make sense in this situation.
She got firsthand experience of
Yeah.
that perspective from me when we were talking about it last week.
Yeah.
She looked at me and said, "This is how much I pay," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yo, I hope this dude's putting that in the savings account because he should be working full time." And she looked at me, she's like, "Not really." And then when she told me, "Oh, political science, still going to school full time, putting in time with his kids, holds the family down, looks after the child," like, yo, bro, this guy. I told her, I was like, when he's done school and he gets a job in politics, I'll move to whatever province he's living in and I'll vote for him. Like, I'm gonna vote for this guy.
I think there's
People
a
like that need to be in
definition
politics.
of what it means to be a provider. And I think that especially for men, they provide the money and women provide within the home, right? They provide the nurturing, whatever. But times are changing. Like this isn't the freaking 50s and 60s anymore. Like dads want to be around with their children. They want to be hands-on. They want to like be there for their kids, and he loves what he does. So at the end of the day, like it's no power struggle, because for me, I feel like it would be like a power issue if I make an absurd amount of money. Okay, I'm not gonna say it out here, but I make an absurd amount of money, like CEO tax bracket. It's like ridiculous. So naturally, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, go get a job, go bust your ass. You know what I mean? How does it make sense? Instead, I'm gonna take care of my family. I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna like be smart with my money and take care of my people, because it's no difference. Like there's no difference than if he made all that money and had that opportunity. It's just the opportunity that like I have, and it's what I would prefer. Ever since I was a teenager, I always knew that I was going to be the provider of my family, because that's where I'm best fit. I don't know how to do the whole like nurturing, freaking playing with kids type stuff, because I wasn't played with. I wasn't nurtured. I didn't have those like key moments with like child parent where you actually learn how to do that. My biggest influence was like my father, who was working all the time. He was an architectural engineer, never home, up at like 4 a.m. every morning, home 6 p.m. at night, cooked us dinner, put the kids to bed, and then went to bed and did it all the same thing. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she was like mentally fucking ill and like abusing his children while he was gone. So like I didn't have the upbringing where it's like nurturing and loving. It was like very much complete opposite of that. But my role model was somebody who like did everything they could for their family. And I think that's just probably what built me to like be how I am today. So I don't see it any different. I don't want to be at home barefoot and pregnant. I want to like travel and like make the money and be able to provide for like other family members of mine and take care of them if they get sick. Like my grandma has cancer again. So, like, you know, I'm going to take care of my grandma and my grandpa so he doesn't have to work and he can be home with her. And, like, you know, I don't want to be barefoot and pregnant. No thanks. So, like, times are changing, you know, and men don't, like, think about how many men go bust their ass for 30, 40 years at a job they fucking hate just to, like, kill themselves in their 40s because they're unhappy and they've, like, sacrificed their happiness in their life and didn't find a way to do both. Or they were told that they couldn't do both. And this is the box they have to sit in. Fuck your dream. Go work for a boss you can't stand. You know?
Like, I have a good work-life balance, and people always say I do the most. They're like, yo, you're out here chilling, you live the life, you're at the beach with your kids. I'm like, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
This is fatherhood, yes. Parenthood, yeah.
Like, you know, I take my kids to Jays games. Like, I do the most with them, and, like, I enjoy it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of get it. Like, some parents are more about that life, and some parents are more just, like, down for the grind. So
yeah, I'm a grinder. Yeah. I just want to, like...
I can relate to your dad, 'cause I'm an architect, too. So it's kind of like, I get it. You're on those, you know, sometimes at 7 o'clock, you're there, you're looking at a drawing, you're like, oh, man, shit, I got to go to a soccer game, but I also got to make this deadline. So
yeah.
I kind of get it, man.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? You're a single father. As a single father, what are your thoughts on that?
As a single father, my thoughts, I think the biggest issue that I have right now is when the courts don't do a proper job of vetting who has a valid case and who doesn't. You know, right now, the courts operate on a very much cried wolf, you know, sort of scenario.
Well, let me jump in on this just to give a little perspective. So in Ontario, just from like what we've seen and what you guys can attest to is that like the fathers in Ontario get absolutely buried in court.
Yeah.
And
same back home.
It could get dragged out for years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years, and they could just keep going back to court every 3 to 4 months just with nonsense. And trust me, it really kills some dads out here. Cause
the U.S. is like even worse. Their system is like far behind ours. Yeah.
But
if ours is bad, the U.S. is worse.
But that's the biggest thing, is the fact that there is no, at least from my mind or from my personal experience, there's no step where it's like, okay, this parent has said this. This parent is saying this. Let's take a look at the financials, or let's take a look at the paperwork of everybody and determine who's actually saying the truth, and determine if this is even a case, or if this can be settled before we even get to this point.
Right.
Because this situation that I'm going through, and I'm still going through it, which is why I'm choosing my words very carefully, as you can see. I'm really taking a lot of time to listen, and at the same time just choosing my words very carefully, because I'm still actively dealing with this. My situation, it was basically, regardless of how much I had been doing, regardless of how much I've contributed, regardless of how much, all it took was a person to say, oh, this and this and this and this and that, and they got to file it in court. You know what I mean? And drag me into it.
Yeah.
And bring me into a position where now I have to defend myself.
Yeah, and defend your
you know,
honor.
and defend my honor in a situation that basically almost makes me feel like I'm guilty. I have to prove my innocence. Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to, no, let's take a look at the financials. Let's take a look at everything. Let's see who's determined what. You know
That's
what I mean?
how it is for men, both in family courts and in society. Like, you're guilty till proven innocent. It's not the other way around at all.
And that's what was really
with
ridiculous.
dads.
You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, you know, I file my taxes. I'm a law abiding, you know, tax paying citizen. You know what I'm saying? So I have my paperwork, you know, but it's just ridiculous that it would even get to this point and drag me into something that has cost thousands of dollars in attorney's fees, that has cost so much of my personal mental well-being and my patience and my
Right.
time and everything being dragged into something to have to defend myself from something that is so absurd, because I've been in my son's life, you know, from the get.
Yeah.
I moved here. I'm not from here.
Yeah, I've
You know
seen
what I mean?
it where dads have been there since day one, and then all of a sudden they're turned into like weekend dads and shit. We have to understand that like a lot of our language and a lot of our perspectives play into other issues. So when you see dads that go into court and they're like automatically presumed guilty, that comes from like the stigmas that have been like lasted for centuries, which is just that like dads aren't the best parents, right? They're not the most active ones. They're not the ones that love the kids the most. And we know that that's not true. We know that there are dads that love their kids and fight for their kids, but these are the same stigmas that are perpetuated every time we look at stay-at-home dads and like laugh at them. It's the same kind of ideology where you're saying like, you know, because you're a father, this is what it must look like, black and white. And like people can manipulate that, whether it's you're in family courts and it's like, oh, well, you must have been the piece of shit because you're a dad. How could the mom be the toxic parent? How could you be the best parent when, you know, over time it's been the other way, right? So like we have to check even the little biases that we speak on in day to day. When you hear about dads like the father of my children and say like, oh, well, that's not a man. That's not what a dad does. Because like you can use those types of like stigmas and classes and just manipulate it. And people do. And they often manipulate it to hurt men.
I've actually seen some studies that a child that grows up with a single father has a better life as opposed to a child that grows up with a single mother.
I believe it.
That the single father does a better job.
No dig into single moms or like even people who were raised by single moms, because when people talk shit about like single moms, not that that's what we're doing here, but when people do, you're also like shitting on people that were raised by single parents and single mothers. And like, you know, I know a lot of people that were raised by single moms that are like stand-up citizens. Yeah, you're one of them. My chat was just saying that you're their favorite. They like you.
I was gonna say though, like just like on a real talks, there's no joking aside. It's just like I talk to like tons of guys who are kind of going through this, because a lot of guys who play sports end up having these type of situations. So I know a lot of guys who play sports, and it's like you're talking to them and they end up becoming a weekend dad, and it hurts their mental because no one ever really talks about it, but it's like they want to see their kid. Like you want to see your daughter.
You went from being there all the time to like, and it would hurt no differently than mothers.
And it's like, yo, sometimes when I hear these guys talk, it's like you can't even help them, because it's like you try and tell them something and then you don't want to be out of pocket by saying anything like wrong or anything like that. And it's like, you know, they're hurting, and all I could do is like give them a beer, you know?
Right.
So it's rough out here.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And that's why and that's why it's something that all court systems, you know, Canada, United States, just internationally, all of y'all need to just really do a better job of just vetting these sort of situations and not letting them get to these sort of points. You know what I mean? Like have actual mediation, because, you know, these situations are not fair. These situations are not fair, especially when a person is doing everything that they can and then they get relegated to being a weekend dad, and they're still doing everything that they can. And all it takes is one person to say this, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're now having to defend yourself when you never had to do that before. You know, it's not fair. It's not a fair situation at all, because again, how many men do I know in this situation, especially speaking from my personal experience, that if the shoe was on the other foot, we'd never do that to you.
Yeah.
We would never do that to you, because we would never want to hurt our child and deny them access to their child, to their mother.
Yeah,
you get what
and
I'm
that's
saying?
what people
Never wanna
don't.
do that.
I can't stand it, because you see it all the fucking time, like all the time. Where like, I mean, you see movies, TV shows, comedies. I mean, it's everywhere. Where like, the most common situation is where like, all right, husband and wife are married. You know, they got kids. They've been together for 10 plus years, and husband cheats. Wife takes the kids, hops on a plane and like fucks off, or like takes the kids to grandma's house and like doesn't tell him where the kids are. And it's like, or kicks him out of his home, or like, but mainly with the kids, it's like, it has become like,
They're weapons.
Yeah, and it's like there's two different boxes. Like, and I explained this to my 7-year-old when she asked me like which one of my 2 kids she loves more, her or her brother. And I explained like I got 2 different boxes, and like it's not the same. Like it's not like, you know, there's how I love you, there's how I love my son. There's like it's 2 different things. And with parents, there's how you love the mother or the father of your children and how you love your children. Those are 2 different things. So somebody can be a shitty partner and a great parent. There's been times where I've been a shitty fucking partner, but a great parent, and like vice versa. We need to stop pretending that like, you know, what a spouse does, unless it's violence, unless it's domestic violence, we need to stop pretending like what one does to the other spouse is somehow a reflection of like the love and the adequacy that they can give to children, because that's like those are just 2 completely separate things, and it's not normal for you to go through something in your marriage and then take the kids, and then suddenly the kids are like, where's dad, why aren't I home? You're uprooting their schedule. Like, yeah, it's not about you anymore, it's about the kids. That's the commitment we make when we have children.
I will say also on the flip side is like I do have some girlfriends as well, and it's like you talk to them, and like when they got separated, they had to go through it as well. So it's not just the girls doing this. It's like some guys do this as well.
Absolutely.
Where it's like they'll leave and go on like a binge, you know? Mm-hmm. So they're gone. They're on like they're doing their binge wherever they are.
Or they'll leave and take all the money, and the mom goes to like a homeless shelter with the kids. Yeah. I've seen that happen. Like, that's fucked up. How do you do that as a parent?
I even know like one situation where like the guy is just like dragging it out, and like the kids need certain things, but like they can't get the things because the guy's just dragging it out unnecessarily. And it's like those ones kind of hurt, because it's like I know the guys in the situations, and I'm just like, bro, I wish you just like, I understand you have the hatred or whatever happened with your wifey, but it's like if you could look past that, you gotta think like, yo, your kids are your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you're mad at your wifey or not, like you still like, for me, responsibility. I grew up single mom, right? So it's like I know what it's like for not having the other parent involved, and it hurts. Like it sucks. You grew up and you're mad. So
I have a good one. There was a story that came across that I responded to, and it has to do with like dad and, you know, paternity fraud, where like, you know, you think that you're parenting somebody who turns out not to be your child. There was a guy who thought he was the father to this child. I think she was about like 3 years old when she passed away. She died. He paid for her funeral and her headstone. And then the mom, in a fight after the baby had died, the 3-year-old, let him know that that wasn't actually his kid. This man recorded himself. I'm assuming in grief. Like I think he was grieving, obviously, going through some shit. He went to the gravestone and recorded himself smashing the baby's headstone. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Like,
he had every right.
As mad as
he has every right.
It's a heinous thing. It's a heinous situation all around. But at the end of the day, he was pushed into that. He was provoked into
angry.
That. You get what I'm saying?
Like, yo, trust me, those emotions are different.
Those emotions are. You gonna tell me my dead child's not mine, and you're gonna say that out of spite and anger? I hate you right now.
Yeah.
I hate you and everything that has anything to do with you. Look, I didn't just smash the headstone. Your car reminds me of you. I'm gonna smash that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like that is horrible.
Do you think it took it too far to do it to the baby's headstone?
I think there was just there's no even
the mother's
the one
that took it too far to begin with.
There's no point to have a sense of judgment in that.
Yeah.
Because again, what you did to him was irrational.
Innocent
so
by
you got
ways
an
of mental
insanity,
temporary insanity. Yo, that's temporary insanity.
Yeah, literally
temporary insanity.
He was grieving as a father and also
grieving.
Yeah.
Angry.
He's already hurt.
It's an irrational reaction to an irrational action.
I lost my little brother.
You know.
I'm sorry.
Like 19 years ago now. He was 16. I was 18. The anniversary of his death is April 6th. It just passed. And to watch the pain that my mother goes through, even till now, every year she goes to his funeral and she cries like it happened yesterday, every single time.
Yeah.
That's not a pain you ever get away from.
No. Yeah.
You never get away from that pain. It doesn't get better.
Yeah.
You learn to live with it, but it never gets better. And the memory is always fresh.
Yeah.
So what that father was going through, plus, come on, bro.
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Nah, man. Someone should lock that woman. Not only should he sue her for the funeral costs,
Yeah,
sue
everything.
her
woman
for
should go to jail.
Emotional
sue her for.
damages.
I would
No,
sue her.
that woman should go to jail.
That
Yeah.
woman should
That
go to
woman
jail.
should be doing some time.
Yeah, I agree. That's got to
I
be.
mean,
a
on
crime
top of
record.
getting
If he had
sued,
ki-
but she should be doing some
And let
time
me tell you
because that is
something.
absolutely
If he had
a crime.
killed himself, if he had committed suicide over that
Exactly.
type of grief, bro, she would definitely deserve to go to jail
Yeah.
for the rest of her damn life.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen. That's something that's been a topic in the men's rights community for a long time, especially with false allegations. Because there was a story that I covered for a long time in the summer, and it was a cosplayer, young guy, I think he was 18, 19 years old. His name was the Inquisitor Ghost, and he was a really popular cosplayer. He cosplayed the Ghost from Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, I know his story was fucked up.
Yeah, so his dad has like been on this like really strong campaign to talk about like bullying and false allegations, because what happened to this guy was, even though he had minors don't DM in his Instagram, like literally, like if you're a minor, don't fucking DM me. This girl DM'd him, pretended to be an adult. She was a minor, pretended to be an adult, hit him up, him fully thinking she was a grown up, still shot her down, and her boyfriend, his name is like Tito's Acting Badly, he had this like agenda against this guy. Basically, he was jealous of him. He was like coming up very quickly in the cosplay community. This other cosplayer, Bravo07, was a part of it. And they coerced this minor, this 16-year-old girl, into continuing to make false allegations and like bait this guy into seemingly inappropriate conversations, even though they weren't. He was never inappropriate. But they spread everywhere that he was like a pedophile, a goof, a fucking everything, you name it. And he killed himself live on TikTok. Killed himself. And even though everybody knows who these people are, they know who the minor is, they know who these individuals are that push these false allegations, everyone knows who they are, the police won't do anything. You apparently can't charge them because there's not like, I don't know how you're not responsible for that man's death. How are you not responsible? You did that. You did that. Your words and your actions led for another human being. He's a whole ass human being.
I don't know
feel
who
like
these
his life
people
wasn't
are, but I
worth it.
hope his ghost follows you in your dreams
No kidding. It
for the
just-
rest of your lives.
Just does terrible things to you. Just
You're
the worst
you
sleep
you
paralysis
literally
demon.
just cursed your great grandkids. Like, you just messed up your whole life.
Yeah.
This is the thing with the internet. It's like sometimes like we all forget that the people who are typing and the people we're typing to, they have feelings, right? So as much as like all this is going on, it's like that's kind of like the absence of the screen, where it's like you're behind the screen and it's like Roma got feelings, you know, we all got feelings, and it's like,
Oh yeah. It's brutal. I've had like the worst of the worst just because I'm a men's rights advocate. Like, if you advocate for men, the world will just start treating you like one and start falsely accusing you of shit if they don't like what you have to say. And that's exactly what happened to me. I had people saying that I was giving methamphetamine to my then 3-year-old daughter, that I was a pedophile because a percentage of my following, which was like 18% at that point out of like 1 million on YouTube, were minors. So that must mean that I'm like grooming minors because I can control if they follow me, and, you know, like just really heinous shit that like fucked my mental health, like fucked it just royally, like really, like it took years actually to be able to even watch TikTok again or like read my comment section again. And like, you know, this shit like really fucks with people when people say shit to you over and over and over again, or like certain allegations, like that changes the way you view yourself. And like, yeah, like some people take their own life because of it. So
That's why it's sort of the benefit with battle rap is that it gives you that ability to be able to retort, to reply, to rebuttal, to say something back. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, on social media,
And
you
that's
can't
what
do that.
that's what online bullying tends to take away from. It takes away your voice, or it takes away
Yeah.
your ability
Because then you
to
respond,
react.
and then you're feeding into it, and you're feeding
And that's
the
kind of the
trolls, and
therapy
you're-
that happens in battle
Yeah.
rap, is the fact that we get to say some vile shit to each other, but we also get to hear some things said to us, things that give us a chance to see perspective and see how we view things and see how we look at ourselves and what we're doing to other people and how other people view us. You know?
Absolutely. I'm very careful with what I say online. I mean, I've learned a lot of lessons, and grief has definitely done that
Yep.
for me. But
well,
Yeah.
hopefully our people in the comments could kind of chime in on this conversation. And I know this one went deep, but thanks for listening to this one, and peace.
peace out.